The Mass Effect series is one that has gained an incredible amount of popularity since its inception back in 2007. Nearly 10 years later, the game has made its way onto new-gen consoles in the form of Mass Effect Andromeda. Does it live up to the original trilogy? It does for the most part, but it unfortunately does have its issues. Mass Effect Andromeda follows the footsteps of either Sarah or Scott Ryder, depending on which character you choose to play as. You wake up in the Andromeda Galaxy in the year 2189, following a 634-year-long journey on board an Ark. As part of the Andromeda Initiative, your focus is to find a new habitable home planet outside of the Milky Way galaxy, and due to some unforeseen events, you are named the Pathfinder, resulting in a big part of the initiative's future resting on your shoulders. And of course, this isn't as simple as just finding a new planet and landing on it to declare it a new home. No, nuh-uh. There are many other life forms on planets, and one such life form Ryder encounters is the Ket. These bastards in their Archons stand to make your life a living hell after your first few encounters with them. I found the story in the game to be a little slow at first, but things picked up nicely after the first 5 or 6 hours. The game also revisits past themes from the original trilogy, such as the remnants of a past civilization leaving behind advanced technology. One thing that was somewhat disappointing was the cast of companion characters. It's not that they don't particularly have depth or interesting backstories, but they just aren't as memorable as characters such as Gaddis, Tali or Thane. PB and Joel come pretty damn close though. When it comes to gameplay, Mass Effect Andromeda has mixed things up quite a bit. In the previous games, Commander Shepard could really only take cover behind an object or vault over that cover. Ryder is a lot more mobile thanks to a jump jet, which allows you to make a quick vertical or horizontal jump and also hover. It adds a sense of verticality to the combat, which works really well. In addition, it makes combat a more fast-paced and frenetic affair since you'll really hug cover for the entirety of a fight. The jump jet also makes it possible to move all over the battlefield, meaning you're able to rush enemies to catch them by surprise. It's not just useful in a fight, however, as it makes it possible for you to scale tall structures or cross sizable gaps with ease. And it's also very satisfying to hear it activate when being used. During combat, Ryder is able to switch between classes on the fly, with each class also being able to have a maximum of 3 different skills equipped from the plethora of different skills available. It's a nice change and feels more freeing to have to not stick with a single class for plus minus 50 hours. You get to have a lot more fun when you can apply different tactics to various situations. Companions in combat are somewhat limited this time around. You're not able to issue orders for them to use specific attacks or abilities, but instead they can be ordered to attack a certain enemy or defend a certain position. That's about it. You can't equip them with gear either. What you can do, however, is allocate points to their skills and passive abilities. It's a little unfortunate that issuing attack orders is now a thing of the past, but thankfully the companion AI is competent enough to hold their own during a firefight. Andromeda's story missions are enough to keep you going until the very end. The side missions can be a different story, however. While many of them can be interesting, a fair amount can become a little fetch questy. Go here, collect something, go there, kill a group of enemies, and then turn in the quest. This can kind of be attributed to the more open world nature of the game though. And speaking of open world, each world that you visit and explore is distinctly different from the next. They're also incredibly large, and each one has its own hazards that are specific to each world. For example, one may have higher levels of radiation while another has a dangerously cold environment. Navigating these worlds wouldn't be the same without the Nomad, a 6-wheel vehicle that is capable of driving on a host of various terrains. Thankfully, making your way around isn't as mundane as just holding down a single button. The Nomad comes equipped with a 6-wheel drive function for getting up steep inclines, in addition to a horizontal and vertical boost to make the most out of your jumps. Using all of these functions of the Nomad will be imperative to properly navigating the different worlds. Scanning planets for resources is still a thing in Mass Effect Andromeda, and scanning unexplorable planets is still the most tedious part of it. Thankfully, traveling between planets and systems is absolutely amazing to watch since you view the trip from a first-person perspective. The multiplayer Horde-esque mode from Mass Effect 3 has made a return. Players work in a team of 4 to take down waves of enemies and also complete objectives. The result is a pretty simple but extremely enjoyable multiplayer experience. The rewards you earn come in the form of randomized card packs, which in turn unlock more consumables, weapons and gear, which keeps things quite interesting. Graphically, Mass Effect Andromeda performs fairly well most of the time. Reviewing this on PS4, I experienced slowing down here and there, mostly when navigating the nomad on a planet, and there were instances of glitchy jumping companions during combat. There were some of the infamous facial animation issues, but thankfully this was alleviated by the patch. Unfortunately, there were also times when textures would pop in during conversations, which was a little distracting at times. Concerning the audio, I loved the soundtrack, and for the most part the voice acting too. Voice acting veteran Nolan North does a great job at voicing Scott Ryder, and the same can be said for Frida Wolf, the voice of Sarah Ryder. Mass Effect Andromeda is an enjoyable game, but unfortunately it's let down by issues that mar the experience somewhat. While the new gameplay features do certainly improve the combat, the slowing down and somewhat forgettable characters is quite disappointing. The fuller fetch questy side missions don't help it either. The multiplayer component is great though, and it can be quite addictive once you start unlocking more card packs. Andromeda comes close to the greatness of the original trilogy, but unfortunately it just doesn't live up to it in its entirety. If you enjoyed this and you would like to see more, please don't forget to leave a like on the video, but only if you see fit. And if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you got your hands on Mass Effect Andromeda, please let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.